Yeah, I've been trying to figure out like how to lock in with a drummer and feel the groove.
That's a great question. I mean, I think, yeah, how do you work on that? How do you work on that? I think the key is listening and moving and practicing it by playing with different musicians. You know what I mean? And I think there's different elements of rhythm and playing with drummers, but I think like how to put it, people talk a lot about like where to place the beat. You know what I mean? Like on top, behind, or in the middle. And I think it's important to think about that kind of thing when you're playing with whatever drummer you're playing with. And I think you can develop that kind of thing by playing along with recordings of great drummers too. Like that's something that I've always loved to do is like put on some Miles Davis record and play along with Tony Williams and try to understand where he thinks the beat is, you know, where he is playing time and how I can contribute to it. So like I think it's sort of it's like a mindfulness thing. It's like when you're doing it, trying as hard as you can to understand where your instinct is and trying to understand where the drummer's instinct is or where each musician's instinct is because everyone is a little bit different and everybody has their own like pull. Like my instinct is to play on top of the beat or rush, you know. This is the same thing as like your tendency to rush or drag. It's like where you think the time is. You know what I mean? So I think, and you know, to do that, whenever I'm playing with a new drummer or testing it out, I'm just trying to find the center of it, find where we agree, find the kind of stuff that will work together when we're improvising, if that makes sense, you know? And that just has to do with like listening to where they put their phrase emphasis, if they're hitting like the and of four, or how they're comping, or like, yeah, I think for me, again, it comes from having like a lot of different reference points for trying to understand what other musicians are trying to do, if that makes sense. So if I play with a drummer that plays really on top, I might think, oh, Tony Williams or Billy Higgins or Roy Haynes or someone. And if they're playing really behind, I might have some other reference point like Elvin Jones or more modern players or anything like that. But like having an aesthetic reference point for different ways of playing time, I think has helped me a lot. And then once I'm comfortable in that situation, allowing myself to play with time and emphasis, you know, giving me the opportunity to like lay way back and play with time. Yeah, it's a really good question, and it's sort of it's another big one. It's like a lifelong, like, you develop time by playing time. You can develop your time by walking. You can develop your time by chewing. You can like work on it all these different ways and like hear music while you're doing all these different things. But the locking in with the drummer thing is that's real. It's like a real professional consideration too, because you're like, if you're on the job, if you're working on a gig together, you both have to meet each other. Everybody has to meet where they are for it to actually lock in. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about it. Does that kind of answer your question, Kirsten? Is that helpful?
So basically, I have to listen to you're saying like drummers have a certain phrases they play, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I mean everyone is coming from somewhere. Like every drummer you play is going to be influenced by someone. So for me, what is really helpful is also knowing a lot of drummers that drummers like, so that when I play with different drummers, I can be like, oh, he's kind of feeling it like this, or oh, he's feeling it like that, and I have a reference point for it, so I kind of know how to move it around and how to lean into it. Like if I play with a drummer who's really into Elvin, I know that time is going to be like stretching and contracting, and the end of phrases are going to be like boom. Like there's almost going to be extra space at the end of phrases, you know? And this is like, I just think it's an important thing. It's like all music, but I think for us as rhythm section players, it's really good to have a lot of different reference points for drummers, you know. And in a perfect world, the bass player is just going to be like taking care of everyone, and you don't even really have to think about them because they're so killing and right in the middle of the beat. So you can just focus on like what needs to happen with you and the drummer. You know what I mean? Um, and the phrasing thing is a part of that too. Like when I play with more straight ahead drummers in New York City, I'm like, oh, like he's into Philly Joe or he's into Jimmy Cobb, and so he's going to be playing phrases like this that I've checked out a lot listening to Miles Davis First Quintet or Wynton Kelly Trio or music like that. So I know how to play like some, you know, some comping idea or some line idea that goes along with their phrasing as well. You know what I mean? Like I think a lot about the and of four when I'm playing with drummers like that. Like shop do wah ding da ding ding da ding ding ga ka do da ding da ding ding da ding ding da cha do ga. Like that's a way of phrasing that a lot of drummers use, which is based on this way of playing jazz from the 1950s onward. But that's a way to lock in, you know, that's a way to develop something with a drummer with unison as well. You know what I mean? Because drummers, I've found that drummers always really appreciate it when when our comping is really locking up. You know what I mean? Like if I'm playing a lot of stuff that they're playing at the same time on the snare drum, and there's a precedent for all that language. Like it's all been recorded, and you can check out how Wynton Kelly comps with Philly Joe Jones and Paul Chambers, and they have this language, you know, that people are still playing today. So like, yeah, this is kind of what it just what I'm saying. Like having all these different reference points in my memory and in my listening for different drummers and different ways of playing time, it makes me be prepared for the moment where I'm trying to lock it in with the drummer. Like if it's not feeling good, I'm like, okay, what can I do to fix this? How can I make this situation work better for everybody? You know what I mean?
Kinda.
Okay, kind of, kind of.
Uh,
Yeah.
I
So
can contextualize a little bit because I think Kirsten is, or yeah, Kirsten's like playing with a lot of people. I think there are some maybe kind of more like foundational, like developing time feel things
right.
that that he might be wondering about. But I think this is yeah. I mean, I'm so excited to share this with the people who couldn't make it to this call for whatever reason today, but are like, yeah, I've got other students from hearing this, and I'm like, oh my God, I want to tell it to this person. So I'm excited about it. Just one thing I want to highlight really quick is this idea of not only learning the lineage and history of your own instrument, because it's amazing, you know, for Kirsten, I know that you know about all these books. Like when I mentioned most books about guitar, like The Advancing Guitarist by Mick Goodrick or something, you're like, all right,
Oh yeah.
I've read that already. It's cool to think about learning the histories of other instruments. I think that's an amazing thing. And so I think like maybe what Max is getting to is more like what like understanding where different drummers are coming from to work with people who have different styles and different time feels within jazz. Yeah, which is maybe a step beyond where you're at. Yeah, maybe like to kind of bridge the gap here. Yeah, like Max, like do you work on or how have you approached working on time? Like, and also, sorry, I'm trying to bridge a communication gap here. And I'm trying to figure out how to do it as well as I can.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah, are you thinking about like playing with metronomes and working on your time feel in general? Like, is that kind of where you're? Yeah, like
I
I just love to hear more about what you're thinking about with rhythm here. I don't mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah, I'm thinking about like playing in time with a metronome and playing live for the drummer because you're starting to realize playing with a live drummer is not like playing with a metronome. They
No.
they speed up and they
Yeah.
slow down.
Absolutely, and they phrase things different. Sometimes it stretches out, sometimes it contracts, you know? And I think it's like playing with a metronome is practicing for that situation, you know? I mean, like my metronome thing for many, many years was putting the metronome on beats 2 and 4. You know what I mean by that?
Uh-huh.
You just like put the emphasis in your mind on it and you play along with it, but you can set the metronome really slow, like I don't know, 40, 50, 60 beats per minute, and have it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and you play along with it in that capacity. But you're totally right that it's not the same as playing with live drummers. And I think that the thing that helps you do it better is just doing it more with different people. You know what I mean? Like working, if you're playing with the same drummer every time, you two can have a conversation about it too. Like I'm always like talking to my friends that play other instruments about how they're feeling about stuff or how they're feeling time, you know? Because like it's a two-way street, you know? Like whoever is playing drums with you should be working on this stuff and thinking about it too. You know what I mean?
Kinda.
Because I mean, he's not necessarily the boss. I mean, he's the boss of time, but like having a conversation about how this person is feeling time or how they think about playing drums can show you a lot about how to play with them as well, you know? Um, and playing with different drummers will also teach you about how each individual drummer plays.
Mm.
So that's what I would say. I mean, if you're working with metronomes and if you're playing along with recordings, like I feel like that's a really helpful thing is playing along with recordings of drummers, you know? Like do you have some drummers you like to listen to?
Not really.
Well, there's a lot of them. You should check out some recordings you like and check out the drumming and play along with it. Cause like again, like if you listen to some Miles Davis stuff with Tony Williams, it's speeding up the whole time. It's speeding up like crazy, and you start the recording and then you skip to the end, and it's sped up like 60 beats per minute. So it's just like about exposure and having yourself do it and work on it. Like next time you go to play with a metronome or practice, put on a recording instead of a tune you're working on and play along with it and try to lock it in with the drummer, even though they're not actually there with you.
All right.
I think it's a really good exercise. It's helped me a lot, and it's actually an exercise I learned from a drummer friend of mine. I was like, "What are you working on? How are you practicing?" And he was like, "Man, I'm only playing along with drummers that I like, you know, trying to understand how they're feeling time, feeling the ride cymbal, stuff like that." So it's like yeah, it's like practicing performance, you know. Yeah, that's what's up. I think that's a really good exercise. I still do it. I still play along with recordings a lot. Um, yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Okay, I think Aiden's got a question, which I'm super excited about. I've also got one other quick comment here for Kirsten, which might be, if you're playing with a drummer and you're noticing that they're speeding up and slowing down a lot, it could be the case that your time is actually stronger than the drummer's time. And this is something that I started to notice when I was playing music with students, where like my rhythmic tendencies to try to meet people where they're at and blend with them, but I was realizing no, the student is listening to my sense of pulse. So like I need to really confidently place the beat somewhere, even if they're off, and then they'll figure out where I'm coming from. And sometimes if you have the expectation that you're listening to somebody else and you're trying to meet them where they are, it could be the case that they're waiting for a cue from you. So that's like, I mean, this time's really about Max, but I just thought that could be maybe relevant.
No, it's true. That's kind of what I was saying too. Is like the drummer should also be trying to meet you. You know, they should also be like as considerate of you as you are of them. But sometimes they're not because they're way louder and like so yeah. Having a conversation is always good too.